Hey guys, this is Diablos with another video. This time we're gonna go through a guide for enhancement for 7.1. So in this guide we're gonna go through talents, the honor talents, how to burst, and a couple of macros, as well as the artifact build that I'm using in Arena. So starting off from talents, I'm picking Boulder Fist. I feel like it increases the DPS the most, and when you pick Boulder Fist you don't have to press as much globals as you would with the Rock Biter, so you get Maelstrom faster with the Boulder Fist. I've also noticed that the Wind Song has too long cooldown, and it's not increasing haste. It only increases the attack speed, so essentially it doesn't increase your burst. Hot Hand is something that I haven't tried yet properly, but when I did try it, it wasn't as good as the Boulder Fist. Next we're gonna go for Feral Lunge. This is pretty much just a gap closer. I prefer this one over Rainfall and Wind Rush, is because the cooldown is so small, and the way I use it is even if target doesn't kite me, I can kite it. So if I get into a situation where I have to heal up a bit, I distance myself and then I charge back. So yeah, essentially it's only just a gap closer. Rainfall, the only use I found for the Rainfall is when you play versus a rogue. You drop Rainfall on the ground, you get into Ghost Wolf, and it helps you a bit alleviate the pain on the opener. And the Wind Rush Totem is mainly just for RBGs in order to boost your allies, but the cooldown makes it so it's not viable in Arena for sure. Next we're gonna go for Earthbind Totem. So as you know, in this patch they gave us a Earthbind Totem. If you use Earth Grab Totem with it, the Earthbind gives you the roots as well. So if you pick Stun, you only get slow from Earthbind, but with Grab I found a couple of uses for this one. So I use it versus BM Hunters to root his pets. I use it versus Unholy DKs to root his army. I use it for peeling when they go for my healer. I use it to reveal targets in stealth, so I can break an opener with this one, and I also use it versus warriors in the beginning of the game to prevent them from charging the opener. Capstun, Lightning Surge Totem. I use this one mainly when playing versus Resto Shamans, because when they gather up on the link, I get a triple stun. I tend not to use it because the partners I play with, it DRs their stun, as well as it's very easy to avoid. And the second use for this one would be to chain CC. So when you play with a warrior, he gets a full fear on the healer, you're gonna continue that fear with this stun. But most of the times I use Grab, just so I can avoid, I can assist. This really fucks up the team. Voodoo Totem is something I use the least. I tried this one with a Munkin. So the Munkin roots a healer and I drop a Voodoo Totem on top of it. So it's like a solar beam type of combo. But then again, it replaces Hex and it's inefficient, I would say, because it's like a solar beam. Once you get out of it, it doesn't affect you anymore. And another use for this one would be just to kick cast. So I don't know, versus a priest, you kick holy spell, and then on the shadow you drop a hex to kick it. But then again, it fucks up the R. It fucks with your it's not better than grab totem, let's say that. So that's why I play with grab. Next, I play with Hailstorm because it buffs up the Frost brand, which I get into a bit later. It provides more single target damage than any of the other ones. This is very noticeable in Time Warp dungeons. You can see when you use your Frostbrand and you proc Doom Winds, your artifact, you can feel the damage. So you might not see it in arena, but this one really bumps up your damage in single target burst. Ancestral Swiftness, I use this one I used to use this one to get a faster glow bolts when I used to play with Ascendance, but it doesn't increase your damage. It's well, you can purge faster, but I've noticed that DPS is way better than trying to play the old-fashioned way. And Lightning Shield is something also that can be beneficial versus like affliction locks, or if you have any dots running on you. But in the long run, you're just stretching out the game, and the longer the game goes, most of the times it's better for the opponent, because most of the games are cooldown based. If you play with Paladin, once the cooldowns are over, you will get in trouble. If you play with Monk, he'll go same thing with the Priest. So I prefer fast games. Ancestral Swiftness is mostly for super fast games with Ascendance, but then again you have to play with a ranged DPS. And the other reason why you should pick Swiftness is when you play with Boulder Fist. So if you're chasing someone, you just can't fucking get Stone Strike on them. Swiftness reduces cooldown, the recharge time of the Boulder Fist. It also, in that sense, gives you more Maelstrom regen, which then affects the overcharge. So if I play with Swiftness, it's gonna be with overcharge. But most of the times, almost all the time, I'll be playing with slow Hailstorm. Next I pick Tempest. Because of the burst, my build is built around. So I need that Stone Strike. The reduced cost of the Stone Strike, it provides more burst. Overcharge, again, I pick it when I have to reach a target. Let's say a mage. But this one I pick when I play with ranged DPS, because if I play with melee DPS, it's equally shit for him to reach a mage or hunter. So when I play with MM Hunter, for example, we use crows to force a block, and then after that I'll execute him with Ascendance, or I'll chase him down with the bolt. This is pretty much when I can't get the Stone Strike off. So I would probably use this one in BGs, like random BGs, but when it comes to arena, even if it's a ranged DPS, I would suggest Tempest with Ascendance instead of Overcharge, because you will get starved on the Maelstrom spamming the bolt on cooldown. Empowered Stormlash, something that I never use. I used to use it pre-patch, Legion pre-patch in PvE, but I would not suggest to pick this one unless it's RBG. This might be good in RBG combined with another talent which I get into a bit later, but for arena pick Tempest, and for the next one pick Crashing Storm. The reason why I pick it is mostly based on the comps I'm facing, so I switch between Storm and Sundering based on the comp. So if I face melee cleave, I pick Crushing Storm. If I face Priest and Mage, which are very separate and I can't get the cleave on them, I pick Sundering just so I can kick a cast. So I would Sunder a Vampiric Touch and I would Wind Shear Healing Surge or whatever, you know. So Crashing Storm is something that provides more cleave on target that is not kiting you, so you can get more DPS. Another thing to point out is that the AoE that the Crashing Storm leaves on the ground does not proc Stormbringer, so that's not the reason why I pick Crashing Storm. Most of the times I play with Sundering, but Crashing Storm is it's more of a DPS, so if there is a bunch of pets, a bunch of targets to cleave, I would pick this one. Like on Blade Sage on the right ramp, there might be a situation where this one is better than Sundering, but most of the times it's Sundering. The way I use Sundering again is to kick cast or execute a rogue. I go on the rogue 90% of the times. He starts to play defensive, pops evasion, starts running away. I Sunder in his ass, he can't proc the evasion and he dies in that short mini stun. Fury of Air is something I would use again versus mages and rogues. So I'm chasing a mage, like when I play with ranged DPS, I chase a mage, meanwhile slowing down the rogue. So I pick Overcharge, Swiftness, Boulder Fist and Fury of Air in that case. But when I play with melee and I focus on Storm Strike build, I don't pick Fury of Air. I think it's DPS wise worse than Crashing Storm. I would have to connect 3 targets in order to make this one efficient. It's pretty much just something that helps you to chase a target. So when you're chasing someone, you're slowing down the 3rd DPS that you're running away from, meanwhile chasing the 2nd DPS. And for the last one I pick Landslide. This is based just on DPS, so you get more burst on one target. The Spike is something that provides more burst. I can agree to that, it provides more burst, but it's hard to execute. The way you would get the Spike off, by the way, which I never pick, DPS wise it's a loss of DPS, is that I pretty much would Spike before I burst. It puts a debuff for 15% increased damage on the burst I'm about to do, but that's about it. Landslide increases crit damage and overall more DPS. Ascendance is something I would pick with Fury of Air, Tempest, Swiftness maybe, and then Boulder Fist to close gap when playing with ranged DPS. I play with Hunter. We get a Ice Block from a mage without using my cooldowns. 2nd CC on the healer. I pop Ascendance with my artifact. I execute the mage. those are the situations I would pick this one. Otherwise, it's not so good. Second use for this one is to penetrate armor. So if you go for an armored target, it helps you a bit, but not by much compared to landslide. What else? Well, that's pretty much it for the talents. So now let's go through the honor talents. Since day one, I've been playing with trinket. The reason behind this is that when I'm going for the kill, when I'm doing my burst, when everything is lined up, I need to make sure that I'm not CC'd when that happens. Not even fucking half a second stun. Sometimes it's a game breaking. So I want to be able to trinket like the incoming CC when I pop my artifact. Adoption, I've never used this one. Relentless, it's again for the long games versus mage and lock when you're constantly spam CC'd. I can see this one to be useful, especially for healers, but again, I don't play with Relentless, never played, even on Horde. Next I got Hardiness. This is just an overall which I pick on default. So when Rogue opens up, or if I get a big burst on full HP, it's being reduced by 20%. Reinforced armor is when I have long games where I'm constantly being DPS'd. This gives me more space on HP. And sparring, I pick this one up when I face melee cleave with physical damage. So warrior, feral druids, stuff like that. Most of the time I pick Counter-Strike. This is to have like a scare effect like Karma, to stop the opponent from spamming damage on you. So when I see BM on me, when I see Wreck on me, I counter that cooldown with Counter-Strike. They instantly stop doing damage on me and they focus on Counter-Strike. It's like a taunt, and if they don't, they get fucked. Sometimes I pick Sky Fury depending who I play with and who I play against with. If I face a target that is not kiting like Priest and Lock, and I play with a warrior that benefits from crit damage on the wreck, I pick Sky Fury. Most of the times I don't pick Counter-Strike versus spell cleaves like Affliction Warlock. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do, right? So sometimes I pick Sky Fury. Very rarely I pick Wind Fury, but I haven't been able to determine if this one is any more beneficial than a Sky Fury. So priority is Counter-Strike, second choice would be Sky Fury, and Wind Fury is just a fucking... it's very bizarre. With one hand, it's only one... it's only a 30-second cooldown, which allows me to place two of them at the same time. So I drop one, and then I still have a second one coming. So I haven't tried this one properly yet, but I'm 99% sure this one is just shit, and I would use it probably to just do like a PvP world quest, when I would just drop this one for myself. Next, most of the times I play with Purifying Waters. It's when I purge I get healed. It's obvious. Spectral Recovery, sometimes I pick for when I play against rogues and RMP. I get into stealth. I'm in Ghost Wolf. Now I'm being healed. It's obvious. I get stunned, I'm being healed in the stun. It relieves pain a bit. Same thing with Rainfall. I drop a Rainfall, I get into Ghost Wolf, it reduces pressure. This one, I use it only versus physical cleaves, like Warrior Feral, Enhancement Feral, pretty much melee cleaves that have mainly physical damage or only physical damage, but most of the time it's just ferals to mitigate bleed damage. I dispel bleeds with Stoneform on Alliance, but on Horde I pick most of the times the form, ethereal form. The problem with this one is that when I use it, overall pressure drops completely because I'm not able to do damage. It's hard to say if this one is better than trying to reduce the damage and keep the pressure going. Second last here, I pick, depending on situation again, Forked Lightning. You would pick in RBGs when you're trying to do a maximum pressure. Problem with this one, it breaks CC, but in RBG, who gives a fuck is sound CC, right? So you do more DPS with this one. Static Cling, I pick this one when I play against setups where the DPS targets are far apart. So Shadow Priest Mage, obviously you can't cleave them, so you pick single target pressure. Ride the Lightning, it's about when you cleave the targets. So melee cleaves, they get cleaved by the lightning. Affliction Warlock Warrior, you go for lock, the warrior gets cleaved by the lightning, the pets get cleaved. So this one is really good for situations where the targets are close to each other, like Blade's Edge. You go to the right top ramp, you can cleave everyone if you charge in. So again, same problem with this one is that it breaks CC, so you just have to be careful on how to use this one. Static, again, it provides chase. So for example, if you chase a mage, this one is really good when playing with Fury of Air and with the Lightning Bolt spec. But most of the times I play with Lightning just because of the cleave damage it provides. And for the last tier, it's Bloodlust. For obvious reasons, it provides burst. Leader of the Clan, I can see this one only for RBGs with Empowered Stormlash, just so you can assist other people. Because in RBGs, most of the times you're not connecting on the targets that are playing defensive, so you don't overextend by going in like full retard mode. So this one provides like support for your team more than single target burst. Thunder Charge, I tried this one with Red Paladin. It doesn't go good compared with Bloodlust. I have no fucking idea how to use this one. It's most of the times just shit. It reduces cooldown, 1 minute cooldown from Ascendance, but then again, if you play with Bloodlust, the Bloodlust provides more burst to Ascendance on the globals. So I don't see a reason for the Thunder Charge yet. There might be some uses in certain comps, but I really think Bloodlust is the way to go here, even though it's a bit nerfed to 1 minute cooldown. And that's about all for the talents. Now let's go through the artifact build. So this whole guide, or this whole build, is going to be based on Storm Strike, bursting single target. And the way to go for that is to pick Unleash Doom. So you go to Gathering of Maelstrom, you pick Wind Surge to do increased damage on the artifact. Weapon of the Elements boosts the Frost brand which you play with. Elemental Healing gives you healing for Astro for 30% of your HP. It's very important. Dawn Wolves increase your damage overall, as well as when you use the wolves you have chance to get the blue wolf, which slows the target. Sometimes it doesn't proc, it procs the lightning one, sometimes it's the blue one, but I believe the blue one slows down, it provides a slow. So if you're far away and you do lightning bolt, the wolves will attack and slow the target, as well as the damage should be increased. Raging Storms, it's obvious when you spam Storm Strike, you get increased damage to the Storm Strike. This one pays more to your burst by 25%, which I will get next for the burst, how to do the burst. Spirit of the Maelstrom, again, you play versus RMP, Rogue hasn't opened up yet, you get into Ghost Wolf. Why? Because you get Maelstrom while being in the Ghost Wolf. So it benefits from recovery, you get HP, rainfall, everything adds up, you know. So when you open up, when the rogue opens up, you have full rage. Maelstrom. Unleash Doom, this one pays again to the burst. You get bunch of shit just flying to the target when you spam Storm Strike. Spiritual Healing, it's whatever, it increases your healing done. But then again, Storm Flurry, this one has a chance to do additional damage to the Storm Strike, which then again caters to your overall Storm Strike spamming burst. So this one is mandatory, this one is mandatory, and the way to go there is also mandatory. Alpha Wolf is cleave damage, is bullshit. Gathering Storms, it's for PvE, again it's AoE, which is bullshit. Each crash lightning increases damage done by your next Storm Strike by 2%. Okay, you're gonna maximum have 2 targets, that's 4%. The only benefit for this one would be if you max this one out and you face Unholy DK with the fucking pets, BM Hunter with the pets, or Demolock with bunch of pets, and you could gather up some storms before you burst down on lock. But then again, it's only for one Storm Strike, so this is not the correct way to go if you're doing PvP. It's only for PvE route. Same thing for this one. When Stormbringer resets, you get attack speed. Again, you get attack speed, you don't get haste, so your global is not being shortened. That's why you don't pick this one. The last route you go is to Lava Lash. It's because you never use Lava Lash, but like I said in the beginning of the guide, I haven't tried the Hot Hand build just because of that, but I believe it's more of a PvE build based on the legendaries. So if you have a build to the Doom Vortex, as you can see, it AoEs everyone within 3 yards. It's an AoE ability, just like Gathering Storms and all this bullshit. So we don't want to focus on Doom Vortex. I will be taking it next, but I don't prioritize on it. I mainly pick it. I mainly picked it because I have nothing else to pick, because I really love Lash. But for PvE, I think it's for PvE based on this legendary, which increases love lash damage when your weapons are both enhanced. So yeah, that's maybe when the hot hand kinda could be useful, but it's a PvE guide, not PvP guide. Let's do a burst. I'm gonna show you how to do it. First, let's go through a macro which you need for this burst, aka one-shot macro. So this is my Super Saiyan macro. You use your trinket, which you don't use in arena, but if you do it outside the arena, it uses trinket on slot 14, which is this slot. Casts Ascendance if you have one. Uses Legendary Ring if you have one. Uses Blood Fury. This is important one which you need to add to this macro. So the first line would be use Blood Fury if you play Orc. If you play Troll, use Berserker. Next important one is to use Artifact Weapon, which is the Winds, and then cast Storm Strike. That's the only macro you need for this guide. Another macro I have here, which people have been asking, how do this one? Why? What the macro is on the first one? It's just something I used to have in Draenors, or when I had Frost Shock. So when I pressed Shift, I had Frost Shock. When I didn't press Frost Shock, I had Flame Shock. So that's why I have just the Frost brand to save binds, because I'm used to it. Arena guide is separate, but for arena, of course, you need target 1, 2, and 3, so you can switch targets. You need focus kick, focus hex. That's for another time. But now for this burst, you gather up rage using whatever buttons you press, so Boulder Fist, and then you keep up with Frostbrand and Flame Tongue. So you just have these buffs up. You just keep them up. Doesn't matter how do you get them. You need to keep them up all the time in order to keep your DPS going. And even when you don't have Stormbringer, you use Stone Strike on cooldown. You use Stone Strike on cooldown, and you keep up with the buffs. That's all you do. That's how you do DPS in arena, because you never know what you have to press next. So you keep up with the buffs, and now you're just waiting for the proc. You don't have proc, you use Stone Strike either way. Now you got the proc, what do? You check if you have all the buffs, and then you press the macro, you spam the macro. Okay? You just spam the macro. Now it's important to spam the macro with Bloodlust and to have the buffs up. If you don't have Flame Tongue up, it's not as crucial as having Flame Tongue, I mean Frostbrand. So make sure you have Frostbrand and 10% from Landslide and Boulder Fist. But Flame Tongue is not something that is holy shit, I have the proc ready and I don't have a fucking Flame Tongue. No, you just do the burst then. Because if you do it like I'm explaining you now, you will one-shot the priest with like 3-4 globals if he's not kiting. So let's go through again. You gather up some rage, which is normal, that the shit you do, and then you Stone Strike on cooldown. Now you got the proc, what do? You press Bloodlust with the procs on, and then you Stone Strike. You just spam Stone Strike. Again, you don't even have to press Stone Strike because that's written in the macro. Okay. Important things to keep in mind is that you have the Frostbrand and you have Boulder Fist buffs up, and you do this when you have Stormbringer procced. Okay, and you do Bloodlust before you start spamming your macro. This is because it lowers the global, which increases the amount of burst you do during that 6-second time. And if you get CC'd, like I said, you have to instantly trinket. Like every half a second counts because it only lasts for 6 seconds. Every global counts. Okay, now that's how you burst with landslide. There is another way to burst with ascendance. This is when you play with ascendance for the comp you're playing with. Again, you have ascendance written on the macro, but the difference here is that you're more focused on your rage, so it's not necessary for you to have Stormbringer procced when you do your burst. When you burst with Ascendance, let's say you don't have Stormbringer, the way you burst with Ascendance is that you Storm Strike knowing that you don't have knowing that you don't get Stormbringer next. So despite not having Stormbringer, you want to make sure that you don't just Ascendance right away right here, because you have Storm Strike available. The way you want to do this is the same way. You get your buffs up if you're playing with Hailstorm or not. Let's say you don't play with it. In that case, you don't have to keep up with the Frostbrand. You do Boulder Fist, Flame Tongue, Storm Strike, Ascendance, Bloodlust, and then Ascendance. What Ascendance does, it resets your Storm Strike, so you don't have to wait for Stormbringer to proc. That's how you use Ascendance burst. But the things you have to keep an eye on is your Maelstrom. So if you don't have the Rage, the first Storm Strike costs 40 Maelstrom, and when you Ascendance, you need to make sure that you have another 40 Maelstrom. That's all you have to do. So keep up with Boulder Fist, Flame Tongue, Storm Strike, and then Ascendance with Bloodlust. Always with Bloodlust. But that's it. That's how you burst with Ascendance. The way you burst with Spike is first of all, it's a shit burst, but I haven't fully tested it out like in 2s and whatever. The way you would do this is exactly the same as you do with Landslide, but when you do get Stormbringer, that's when you do Spike, which puts 15% debuff on the target, and with that debuff you then use artifact with Bloodlust, and then spamming Storm Strike, just like you do with Landslide, but making sure that you have Earth and Spike debuff before you do it. I've tested it out with Overcharge. The problem is going to be that you're going to be starving on Maelstrom. It's mostly going to be because this one uses 30 Maelstrom, then you have to get a fucking Storm Strike, which you don't have. It gets too complicated, and most of the times you get better result using Landslide Burst than with the Spike Burst. Even if you think you're gonna combine it with Windsong, it's gonna be shit. It's gonna be shit. So avoid Spike, play most of the times with Landslide, play with melee cleaves, and watch this guide over and over again if you haven't figured out what the fuck to do. What next? What next? There's nothing much else to do, pretty much. If I missed something, leave me a comment below if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible, and consider donating to my my fund. I'm trying to raise money for my next movie. If you want to see that, I've been sick for like past 1.5 months now, so I'm starting to get better. So I'll be going to work. Haven't streamed as much, but as soon as I get that money for the fund, I can stop going to work until the movie is finished, which is gonna take 3 to 4 months. So 1,000 for 3 to 4 months is not much asked compared to my last movie, which took like a half a year to make. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Make sure to share this video for all the enhancements, and give me a like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.